Welcome to the first ever Mountains of Madness podcast.
Woo!
I am your host, Darren, and joining me today we have Gary.
Hello.
Cathal.
I now have a nickname. Hi.
Well, I think the nicknames need to be organic, right? Because if I'm just going to write down on a piece of paper nicknames for everybody, it's not going to work very well. And the organic one I came up with for you is the spectacles with the chesticles. But that implies you've got tits. So we're going to just rein that in for a little while and figure it out as we go.
I think it now should be Cathal. Do I not have a nickname, McGrain?
I think it'll stick.
Cathal, the nickname. We've also got Chikozy here.
Yo, what's up?
Carl.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Jesus.
We've got Ben.
Take a look at that Patreon, yo!
And we've got my lesser half, Darren Logue.
How's it going, everybody?
He's the one.
That's it. It's Darren, the lesser half Logue.
Yeah, and he admits it. I was gonna go for Darren at your grade level.
Okay, let's so we want to kind of keep a nice streamlined flow to this podcast. We don't want to just at least kind of go all over the place all the time. We need to rein it in, every now and then. So for that purpose,
my shirt is off, so I'm ready.
Ready to rein it in.
It's like Cathal has this thing where if you dare him or even mention to him that he should take off any items of his clothing, he will immediately do so, to the point where then you're actually begging him not to take his clothes off.
Anyway,
of course he won't.
Well, maybe not anywhere, maybe not at a funeral or something. But if you're just in a gaff party or a pub or something, and you're like, Cathal, I'd love it if you just took off your shirt right now.
Actually, on that note,
popping open.
On that note, have you ever had the giggles at a funeral where or a place where you cannot laugh?
Oh my God! Today, I was at a funeral today, and we had the giggles. So my dad goes up and he gets introduced to one of the cousins' mums or something.
Yeah,
and he, in his mind, he doesn't know whether he wants to say sorry for your troubles or nice to meet you. And he says, sorry to meet you.
What's that from the IT crowd? It's like, sorry for your loss, move on.
Say sorry for your loss and move on.
No, I can see nice for your troubles or something like that. Cathal, is this where this is going?
I said sorry to meet you.
Sorry to meet you. So anyway, on the topic of reining things in and not getting distracted, the first topic of the podcast today is going to be Destiny 2. So to give everyone a bit of background here, a lot of us in this chat met for the first time while playing the original Destiny. Ben, I believe it was you and I first made contact on some website to form a party.
LFG.
Did you make contact? Hashtag
LFG, Destiny LFG, was it?
We're probably talking, 3, 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago. It was January, February 2015.
It was a wet.
Can you pin it down to a date?
It was a wet, windy morning.
I was wearing my blue jeans.
It was the first.
I don't have any blue. It's black. It was bottle grass.
It was Walter Grass. We had a couple of other people with us.
We had a guy called Lewis as well, who was the best Destiny player.
What a cunt! What a fucking cunt!
He had just dropped Soros, and Soros regime in Destiny 1 was a badass weapon, but a formality in Destiny 1 was you had to upgrade the weapon and then pay for the perks on the gun. He had literally just dropped it in a room earlier on in the raid, and we're in the final room of the boss, and he tells everybody to stop shooting because he has Soros. And we're like, yeah, that's great, but when did you get that? And he went, I've just got it now. Just got it now. I'm like, so have you leveled it up? And he replied with, what?
No, one in the same room. He got it early in the day or in the week, and he kept gloating about it during the game.
I remember his voice. Carl did a really good impression of it. I don't know if you can remember.
Sorry, guys, I've got Soros. Stand back, get back behind me.
It was like a soundbite for all Cockneys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny.
Come on, lads, we're going to go do the raid. It fucking sends us messages throughout the day.
He sounds like an English version of Droop.
Oh yeah, it was absolute fucking cockwomble, right? Darren was at uni or college or something. Do you remember? Like all day, second day of the raid. He kept sending messages throughout the day. When we're doing this, we're doing the raid, then lads. Right?
You know what the saddest thing is? The saddest thing is he's never done it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like last year we checked his trophy stuff and he had no achievement for doing any raid in Destiny 1. I don't know what the particular achievement was, but he hadn't done a bottle glass.
I think on the 3-year anniversary of us meeting, we should hunt him down and bring him through the Vault of Glass.
we can find that on because we would have added each other during that game, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, no, of course it's on our legacy of Destiny 2. So one of the features of Destiny 2 is spooning back into our little topic there. Is when you start the game up. This is a little bit of a spoiler for anyone who's played Destiny 1 a lot and hasn't played Destiny 2 yet, but you have a legacy flashback sequence of some really nice sepia and black and white graded pictures, real simple looking diagrams were great, and they have all the dates and milestones that you've done, so Vault of Glass and doing trials, going to the lighthouse, killing Oryx. It was basically key campaign missions for all the DLCs and then the raids. And then obviously trials, the in-game stuff. But there was the date and who you did it with as well. So we were going through them. We saw Vault of Glass. There was me. There was Carl. There was Darren. There was Killian.
Nothing Man.
Nothing Man. Yeah, and then
Nothing
one other.
Man.
I can't remember what it was.
In fact, the funny thing about Nothing Man is he played us on the Sparrow racing. He was in our game, wasn't he?
Did we not play against him in trials at one point?
No, I don't think we did. It was Sparrow racing.
We played against one of our old friends on trials. We came up against him and absolutely just slaughtered him.
I think I remember that. No, one of our old friends, Jacosi. Like
so anyway, now that Destiny 2 is out, I myself have managed to resist the pull. Like an ex-heroin junkie. It's just like I wake up in the middle of the night and it's like there's a presence in my room and it's like Darren. I'm like, no, Destiny.
It's Atheon. It's Atheon going.
It's Atheon. Just the glows from like inside my closet, and I'm like, no, make it stop.
Do you want to get it, Darren? Do you want the game?
No.
Regardless of format, would you want to dip back into that? Keeping up with the Joneses, 9-to-5 chase of just.
Let me put it this way. If my first experience with Galahorn wasn't the last possible week I could use Galahorn before it was phased out in the years one change, then maybe. But I think that game, it was just kind of like one too many punches to the gut, you know? We do a raid, and I'm like, yeah, I got the gauntlets for the 5th time in a row, and everyone else is like, oh, I got all the fucking...
I got Fatebringer, I got Vex Smith. Yeah.
Except the raid this time just doesn't give you items, it just gives you tokens, so...
everything's on a vendor basis. So you don't have vendors where you go in and you choose, I want to buy that hand cannon, I want to buy that chest piece to then level it up. You just pump tokens into an RNG machine and they give you an engram roll, which 9 times out of 10 isn't higher than where you are now. So it
will be for the raid though, I'm pretty sure.
It should be, yeah. If trials is the end game PvP, and that was higher, then the end game PvE should be on the same line. Should be delivering that higher level content.
I can see them changing that though in the future.
I think so. It can be frustrating. Yeah, so we've just seen Carl's just posted up an image there of where we got to the lighthouse.
I remember that. I slept in that day and I woke up and Killian was like, I just got to the lighthouse with Carl and Ben. And I was just like, you fucking what?
It was epic. In fact,
I was so mad, bro. That was meant to be me in that list.
Didn't we do it afterwards as well?
We did it immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
Killian.
I remember the game with Killian in there. I was Striker Titan straight up. Always Striker Titan. And there was it was on the map was it the map with the bridge? One of the earlier games.
The first one
the first one was on Mercury, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it all just Mercury?
Yeah, it was just Mercury.
Well, I remember a game later on where we had the level on the bridge, and our team had been wiped and we were on our 8-0 game, and I think this was to stop them from winning, and then we eventually came back and won. But there was a turning point where the 3 of them were still alive. And Killian and the other person I was with, or Carl and the other person I was with, maybe you, Darren, I'm not sure. And I came swinging over the top of these boxes and hit my super and landed slap bang in the middle of all three of them and wiped them all out. I'd never heard Carl and the other person make so many weird noises before in my life. Just clipped out, screaming of yelps and girlish cries. It was ridiculous. And I was, when you're just so buzzing, the adrenaline's so high. It was brilliant. This year doesn't have that.
I will say this for Destiny 1. That's great for making memories. It was great for those foot. They're like, oh shit! Oh shit! Oh,
Woken the hive.
Can't believe we did that.
We woke
the hive.
Yeah, none of those moments were in the campaign, in inverted commas.
Yeah, though, like even you saying like talking about that memory there, I'm like, oh yeah, no shit, we did have a lot of great moments. Like
like honestly,
the first time we killed Atheon, etc.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's peak. That's like the main draw for me for Destiny 2. That's kind of like the reason why I came back to it, was because I was like, well, Destiny 1 was great for making memories, so see how Destiny 2 is about that. Like, so
if it follows the same trajectory as Destiny 1, I'm happy being on the road with Destiny 2 as it is now. I think the starting point is a lot better, and as long as they keep that trajectory going, I'm happy to stay on board. Yeah, there'll be gaps in between. I mean, Destiny 1 after the first game and then the first 2 DLCs, I'd stopped playing it for a month and slagged it off as the worst game ever, and then the next DLC came out and I was back on it like a 2-bit hooker. Couldn't get.
I remember there was a period, Ben, where you were like the last one to get back on board with the Taken King, and there was a whole saga to get you back on that.
Yeah, I remember you guys were going to buy me it, weren't you?
No, I was the same though, because I was that original podcast we recorded where we was like, "Now we aren't getting this, so sticking with the Scrolls Online." Like Taking King's £40, fuck that. The Witcher 3 DLC season pass, you're getting a DLC the size of Witcher 2 for the same price.
I was arguing with people on Reddit over the price.
Yeah,
it's just not worth it. It's like £40, no thanks, Bungie. And then people were slagging me off like, "Are you an idiot? It's £40. Yeah. It's DLC. Are you mad?"
But then the day it came out, in the morning I was downloading it, same as Killian as well. And then you got home from work and like, "Ben, get it, it's fucking ace." And you did.
And I didn't get it.
No, you did. You got it that same fucking day.
Yeah,
right? You got it the same day, and you dropped Hawkmoon twice within an hour.
I did. I dropped Hawkmoon 5 times in 3 days. Because I never got Hawkmoon in year 1.
Darren, do you remember when I dropped Hawkmoon?
Yeah, and you were like, I came home from college or something, and Cathal was like, "Oh yeah, I was playing Destiny all day. It was so much fun. I dropped some gun. I think it's called like Hawkmoon or something." And I was like,
shit, I remember that. I was in the apartment that day.
And I was so mad because like this fucker just dropped the best hand cannon in the game and didn't realize the impact of it. Like he was like, "I don't know, like it's just some gun."
I think even at that point, I had realized that it was good for watching you play. Yeah, and I was like, "Oh shit, you just got fucking Hawkmoon," and Cathal's like, "What's Hawkmoon?" And I was like, I mean, Darren's literally been raving about this for like a week. He's like, "I need to get this gun," and Cathal's like, "Oh, seems like a good gun, okay."
It would have been worse if he had it dismantled. They'd be like, "Nah."
Yeah.
I remember Darren's absolutely mad search for the ever elusive Galahorn.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like I had mad searches for a lot of guns because I really wanted Hawkmoon and then dropped that, and I was like, okay, I'm enjoying this for the next 30 seconds, and then suddenly it's just like it doesn't exist anymore, and I'm just like, I need the next gun.
Darren, I've got something to tell you about that actually, right? There's times when you well, at the time you were on during that particular day or something, we dropped Galahorn against some of us, and we were like, we're not going to tell Darren about that.
Oh, yeah. It was like, no, I actually remember that because I remember we were fighting. Right, I remember like it was like 2 or 3 of us in the party dropped Galahorn, and we were like, "Yeah, we're never mentioning this to like Darren ever." Like,
was that the Gorgon checkpoint that you could just go on LFG?
No.
Do you remember
all sorts of other things. That's where I got mine from the first chest in Vault of Glass. I remember getting it. That was fucking ass.
So I
remember wasting time looking at videos of people dropping Galahorn and looking at reaction videos.
Because it was back to how we all met, actually. That's how I met Darren Logue for the first time. Was I had the Gorgon checkpoint in Vault.
No, that was me.
So I said,
Darren Logue.
Literally what he said.
That's your name.
That is your name. That's you.
Did you just say your name?
That's me.
I posted on a Reddit saying I had the Gorgon checkpoint because I was like, I'll give back to the community. Like I've been grabbing checkpoints off people for weeks now. So I posted up on Reddit, and this lad jumped on. He goes, "Oh, I like your name," because my name is my name on PSN, and he's like, I like your name.
My
And
name's
then
Darren too.
he like invited me to a party chat, and he had this big fucking dirty Dublin accent, and I was like, this lad, he's got the same name as me.
He's from
Dublin.
Bray. He's from Bray.
I'm not
Bray,
from
yeah.
Bray.
Yes, you
Give
are.
us your
Yes,
exact
you
address there, Darren. Actually,
Yeah.
That's,
What's your mobile number?
your social security number as well, sure, while you're at it.
You're gonna get
Credit card
doxxed
number.
anyway after
Both
this one.
Cozy and Killian have been to my house. They know exactly where I live. They know I do not live in Bray.
where do they live,
He does,
Shakosi?
he
Where does he live,
does. You
Shakosi?
can see the firefights in Bray, like from his window.
You can see Bray head from my window. I do
Like
not
you
live
look
in Bray.
out his front window, and there's a sign saying "Welcome to Bray."
You can hear the screams of people getting stabbed.
That doesn't happen too often.
That's not a Bray thing, is
For
it?
anyone who lives in Bray,
Too
sorry,
often.
guys.
What?
We've never been.
Clearly. You wouldn't be alive if you had.
So Darren, let me ask you a question then. Have you, ever since you offered up that checkpoint and you stumbled across Logue, have you ever thought
Yes,
back,
every day.
I wish I never gave him this checkpoint?
You're all cunts.
Nah. Just
Well,
Nah,
that's
we're
good.
family, and you just happen to be the runt of the litter.
You're,
No,
you're the
Logue.
smallest kid in the family.
Logue,
no,
you have
Carl.
that wrong. Logue, you have that wrong. We're not cunts. You're just a little bitch.
So actually, okay, so back on track here. Destiny 2 then, right? We've all transitioned over to Destiny 2, except for myself.
Yes.
For now.
And Gary, he never played Destiny.
Gary said he'd get it on PC though.
And
Yeah,
I
was looking at it. I think I might
Anyway.
pick it
if
up.
Gary buys it on PC, and maybe Killian and Chikosi gets it on PC, I might play it on PC.
Oh, so there's a caveat. So it's still in the back of your mind then. So we've edged forward with how much you want the game.
But
Yeah.
we're all on PS4. We've all got it on PS4. Why not get it on PS4?
Because it's PS4, not PC.
It's better on PC.
Yeah, I know,
Oh.
but we don't all have
On
PCs. That's the thing.
On
Oh,
PC.
PC in general.
It's a sacrifice he's willing to make.
Out the family for him.
Let us
Yeah,
cross-play, please.
Oh.
Actually,
That
would
needs
be
to be a
interesting
thing.
feature. That would be
Oh my
really
god!
interesting.
It wouldn't work. It can't.
Well, because didn't
Well,
the guy
it was
of
up
Microsoft
briefly.
say that he's up for doing cross-play with Xbox and PlayStation, but Sony are
Yes.
just like, nah,
Yes.
because they're making way
Yeah.
too much money on the PlayStation. That's not
was-
in their interest
Mm.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 2 years ago, son, it was the opposite way around. 2 years ago, son was like, yeah, we want crossplay, and then Microsoft were up for that. It's just,
I think it's a personal
changed
thing.
now.
I think a guy at Sony's gone, well, we wanted to do it and you didn't, so now fuck you. We're never
Yeah,
doing it.
probably.
I feel like, guys, I feel like, cause like the exact same thing happens to me, like when it's like I'm trying to sell, like I'm trying to sell like a property somewhere. And they're like, no, don't want it, don't want it. I'm like, dude, I'm giving it for you like a really low price. I'm like, nope, don't want it. And then like 5 turns later, they're like, yo, you selling that property? I'm like, yeah, not for you anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there are some games on PS4 that are crossplay, like
Yeah,
Rocket League for PC.
Rocket League has become a crossplay
yeah,
proper now.
Final Fantasy 14, DC Universe Online.
I
Right,
have a sneaking suspicion though that because of the whole Fortnite incident that happened recently, like a week ago or so.
Yeah.
about a
people
week
are- week ago. But anyway, yeah, happened around like a week ago, right? I feel like that Sony might be like, guys, we're actually thinking about this for a while, and we're actually gonna make it all cross-platform compatible and whatever. Like, so I'm like, well, this is I'm just holding out hope, so I could just be talking shit here.
I think Sony have agreed to it, and that was just them fucking up genuinely last week.
Yeah,
I think they're going to announce it at the PlayStation Conference in December.
I agree with that.
I hope so, anyway. I hope so.
I reckon, as well in December, we'll probably see Demon's Souls or Dark Souls remake, the Shadow of the Colossus.
If they remake Dark Souls or Demon Souls, you will.
Yeah,
no
I think
one.
Demon's Souls
No one will
remake.
hear from me until I've finished it. Like at
No,
least
I'll
twice.
drop Destiny.
I just heard like at least 5 or 6 pants just getting creamed.
I don't have any.
Demon
plans,
Souls
but
remake on PS4.
HDR,
I would,
4K.
if it was 4K, I'd buy a PS4 Pro just to play that game.
Okay, but moving back on to Destiny 2, what is everyone's own personal opinion on it?
Yeah, let's get like a 1-sentence review from everyone. Let's just go around the circle.
Who's starting?
Carl
I'll start.
first.
Oh.
Carl.
Better than the first one so far.
Okay.
It's fair. Mine would be... That's it.
Just that?
No, my one sentence review would be still not as satisfying as the amount put into it.
Okay.
Mine would be Destiny 1.5.
You still think it's Destiny 1.5?
Yep.
Yeah. No, well,
because okay, look, like let's say I was expecting it to kind of like pick up from the quality because I think Taken King was the peak of Destiny. I expected the quality of Destiny 2 to start at that quality, but it feels like it's the quality it's at right now is like what's called again the Crota DLC quality. It's like
Okay, I can understand that.
I wouldn't say it's that far back. I'd probably say it's midway between House of Wolves and Taken King. It's got It's got bits of Taken King, and then it's not got some of the good things we saw. Then on
like
House of Wolves was such a disappointment.
Yep.
Oh god!
But House of Wolves did bring us Trials of Osiris.
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did, but
it
didn't give us a raid though. It gave us a shitty horde mode.
Yeah, but it did give us Trials of Osiris, which
Trials of Osiris was that was the best part about that for sure.
It still is the best bit about Destiny 1, but Destiny 2, I would say the best bit so far is hard to pinpoint.
Yeah.
The PvP.
Yeah, it's just not.
No, they took a step back with the PvP, definitely.
They like okay, so like the raid in Destiny 2, I feel very like I don't feel like it's worth my time to do it. Do you get me? Because the gear doesn't have that like raid specific perk. Do you get me? It doesn't have that perk that makes it like, oh, this is the raid gear. It does this thing. It's so juicy. God damn it!
It was to ready you for hard mode, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was like the raid gear was like nearly exotic. It was like a pseudo exotic. Do you get me?
Yeah.
But like this one, it's just like you just get gear. It looks pretty cool.
That looks cool.
Yeah, like so it's like it's lost that feeling, and then like it's just like even the PvP can leave like it leaves a lot lacking. Like I know for like killing is really annoying about the fact that it's 4v. I'm also annoyed about that. I think what really like pisses me off with the PvP is the fact that you can't choose your game modes because I love free for all. I love free for all. Right, so like Rumble was my shit. But like now it's kind of like I don't like I like to pick my a load of people if I die or whatever. But like it's just kind of like I don't know.
The thing is this will the start like I said before the starting place of where they are now means the next 3 years will surpass the best Destiny 1 ever got or should. I can't see any reason why.
Why are we waiting for the next 3 years? Why is it not as good as Destiny right now?
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's like they took half the development team and put them on Destiny 2 and at the other half work on Destiny, and they just never like communicated
a live team doing all the updates and then Rise of Iron, and they were isolated away coming up with these brilliant ideas. It's like only some of them snuck out into
it's casual Destiny minus PvP as well.
Yeah.
Like the end game is not as good.
No
grind.
Carl, how would you
no elitism anymore?
In one sentence. I don't know if I got your one.
Here he said his one.
Casual Destiny. Also rip PvP.
Casual Destiny.
Yeah, it's casual Destiny 1. Like that
you can go and do anything in the game. The best thing is, in fact, the best thing about it at the minute because you have to concentrate. There's no room for error. It's not really difficult. There's just things you have to consider. And
like things like that's the thing that's in-game content.
Yeah, it's not, is it? It's not in-game content.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like people complain that like, oh, the in-game content, the 1%, the streamers, because like that's the thing. End-game content was always meant to be end game. Like as in, like you had to be the best to be able to do it. You had to be at peak performance. And like I think Jeff summed it up nicely when we were doing the raid like yesterday.
Who's Jeff?
Our American token American.
That's the audience asking.
Okay, yeah. Jeff.
Let me just reference somebody that nobody else knows about.
Okay.
Jeff
I get you. Yeah, he'll be here at some point. Jeff will join us at some point in the podcast. But Jeff is our token American. But yeah, so we were doing the raid like yesterday or whatever, and we were talking about like strategies on how to basically beat the boss or whatever. And Jeff was like, yeah, we just need to and I was like, yeah, that's pretty much the hard part of the raid is that like everyone needs to do a certain sequence of events perfectly. Like obviously there's room for error, but that's basically the gist of it. Like,
can I just say something on the raid yesterday? Because I did both sections. I don't want to go into too much detail because it's spoilers as we're in the boss fight. I'm pretty sure most people have experienced it, or if not beat it, but I'll resist going into too much detail. But on in the final room, there's 2 sections you can do, and I did them both yesterday, and neither one was very challenging. You just had a couple of things that you had to do that you couldn't afford not to, but it wasn't difficult.
No, you just can't make mistakes.
And I'm not great. I'm not a great player. Yeah, I'm not the greatest player, but it was not difficult. What was going on. It was what was getting us was bad luck, like odd little things, like things teleporting in the raid and things spawning in instantly and aiming and before they even render on my screen. Things like that were getting me. It was bad.
That's because what they've done in Destiny 2 is they've taken out the elitism of the end game. There's no more leveled trials.
Yeah.
So anyone
Which is
can go
weird.
to the lighthouse, so you can still get the trials gear. There's no more elite raid.
Wait, hold on. Wait, no. There's what did you say? Everyone can just go to the lighthouse. What?
Well, the lighthouse equivalent.
Yeah, the lighthouse.
There's no level advantages now. It's just standard PvP, so you can go in at 190 and still do the same damage as at 300. And there's also now, with 1 win on your card, you gain access to the what is the lighthouse now.
No.
But there is still an area for flawless. But I was in there. I was in there the other day on 1 win because you can just force your way in there. So I just barged my way in. So I'm fucking have a look in it. What's in it? All right, sorry. Big giant head.
One of the biggest things. Do you remember when we used to raid originally? The 6 of us going to raid. We're like, yeah, we've done it. The weapons now. Let's try them out in the Crucible. You can't do that now because all 6 of us will do the raid. Well, when we eventually finish it, and then we're like, right, we'll go in the Crucible, but 2 of you got to fuck off and do something else.
Yeah, which is weird. And then you've got 5 teams of 3. So even when you're done in PvP, one person will fuck off.
So it's like you want to patrol, it's 3 people. If you want to do PvP, it's 4, and if you want to raid, it's 6.
Yeah, it's weird. It is just strange.
That makes no sense at all.
I know.
It does not.
If you've got a big clan, and you're all discussing. I mean, we've got 12.
We're 12
so we've
now,
technically got ways around it if everyone's on, or if there's enough on. But if there isn't, you are just dropping people, and it's an awkward silence. Like if there's 6 of us and some of us want to do PvP, you've got to speak up first, or you're missing out.
Yeah, and I don't think Bungie actually.
Or poor Logue gets kicked out.
Hey.
Yeah, so basically, Logue goes off and touched himself, or he's not.
Sometime.
Cry one.
But anyway,
Can't even pick your game mode either. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I was doing.
You said that earlier, actually. So when you queue up for PvP, you can't choose what game mode you're playing.
No,
you have casual or competitive.
That's
casual
extremely...
runs 2 game modes. Competitive runs 2 game modes.
That's like almost counterintuitive. It's like, let's play competitive, and you're put into a random game mode, which you have no idea what one it is.
Like right now, I have Destiny 2 on.
Can't practice for trials.
But trials doesn't matter anymore.
Trials doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It genuinely doesn't. The best players in here are what? Cathal, Darren, and
Thanks very much.
I'm gonna say Ben, just to piss Chikozy off.
Woo!
Is this PvE or PvP?
Hang on, we can look at the stats to try this out. Logan,
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. How many times did you individually go to the lighthouse?
Every single time.
Yeah, there might be one time that we didn't.
Yeah. I went 12 times. Carl went 12 times.
Yeah, I've been twice.
That says a lot about you, though.
Are we talking about the lighthouse or sexual intercourse?
No, but seriously, the elitism and the oh my god, I finally got to this place, I've worked hard for it, is gone because they've moved it towards the more casual player.
And the area where you do go to flawless isn't. It's nice, but it's not like a whoa.
Do you get a chest at least?
Yeah, so there's different tiers of rewards. So you go, 1 gains you access, and if you've got enough tokens, you can go into the slot machine on the vendor who's there and get a roll. It can either be shaders, armor, weapon. Then you've got 3 wins, which takes you to a platform where you go into a jumping pod, I guess, or a jumping mat, and it boosts you up to this other platform where you get a drop from there. And then if you've got 5, again, there's a higher platform. And then if you've got flawless 7, it's not 9 now because technically you only had 7 wins anyway. You go into the flawless area, which is okay.
You're missing one, Ben. You get a reward for 7 wins. as well as flawless. So 7 wins with losses is okay.
So flawless gets, so there's 3 platforms.
Yeah, 3 platforms and then flawless.
And then there's the flawless area,
yeah.
So it's accessible to loads of people. I mean, we used to play with a few. They were okay. They weren't great. They had a couple of stand-up players, but they never got to the lighthouse. And now on this, all they have to do is just trudge on, and then they'll get enough tokens because you get them from losses as well. And
so you just grind.
You just grind to get
it. It'll take weeks and weeks and weeks. So if you don't get any wins.
Yeah, but that's
not, a lot of games seem to be going towards that kind of like a philosophy, like as opposed to playing like really really well. They just want you to play a lot.
Yeah.
Really,
there's no skill reward.
I'd rather have both.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Reward,
which is what Destiny 1 was. Destiny 1 was that. There were activities people who.
Yeah, like you have to play a lot, and when you're actually playing, you have to play well. Otherwise, you're just not going to get anything for all your time.
But it was that feeling, wasn't it? It was that feeling, like you do trials, and every week they do trials, you can get another armor piece, right? So like, we can get the gauntlets first, and then like, is that feeling of walking around the reef with that new fucking helmet that is the first time you can get that helmet, and people look at you, and it's like, right, that guy's wearing the full Osiris armor set. He has done this 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah, and it carried over into PvP as well. When you turned up with full trials and the flawless exotic emblem as well, and you rocked in there, people were like, "Fuck this!" Yeah, they just knew.
That was
now
it's psychological.
Now it's like everyone's a winner. It's that episode of Scorpio on Simpsons where Bart gets put into the shit class.
Everyone's a winner. That's Carl's 1 sentence review.
Yeah, I like that. I'm not the best PvP player by any means. I'm probably one of the lesser people in the group. But when you do actually win in Destiny 1, you're just like, yeah. Destiny is like, okay, that's nice.
I would rather get shit on week after week after week and never get to the lighthouse because I'm not good enough. Because it's high-end PvP, that's that. If you're not a good PvP player, you don't do it. If you're not a good PvE player, you don't finish the raid. That's how it works. Sorry.
So
that's it.
Does anyone have anything else they want to bring up about Destiny 2? Because I feel like we'll revisit this topic an awful lot. But there's a couple of other things we do want to talk about as well before we finish up the first episode of the podcast. I think Logue said he wanted to say something. He said yes, rather enthusiastically.
There's only one more thing. The fact that they took out the grind for that perfect God Rod. And all guns are now, like, your Mida, or not Mida, your legendary hand cannon is the exact same as mine.
That ties into the lack of endgame grind. Like, there's no grind anymore.
They changed something that did not need to be changed. Yeah. And I found that very, like, why? You literally tried to fix something that was not broken.
I was hoping they'd go down the randomly generated route. Do you like the Borderlands guns? I was hoping they'd do that.
Oh, wow. That's, would be, once again, though, like, infuriating if you're just one getting the bad luck, and really great if you're getting the good luck, you know?
It was done for weapon balancing as well, so that they could just change a particular weapon instead of having to change a whole class because some person got a really good roll.
Yeah. I think it should be more like in World of Warcraft, where you can, pay to have your weapon changed and respect, so you can re-roll one of the perks. Perhaps.
That was done in Destiny for a while, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, on parts of it, yeah.
Yeah, back in House of Wolves.
But I think,
you're right, actually,
as it is now, it sort of gives a bit more breathing space for new weapons to come out. You don't have massively great weapons right now. There's nothing there's no new Galahorn, there's no new Hawkmoon.
Can I interject there, right? I like you say, it gives breathing space, but what I think it does is that because like everyone is always going to get the same gun, no matter what. Like that just means that like you get to the point where you're like, so why am I playing this?
Yeah,
you get to that point much quicker, which is kind of where I'm at right now. It's like I don't feel the need to grind anything because I have all the guns, I have all the whatever. Like there's no point anymore.
But look how many hours a day you've been put into it. Of course, you're gonna have a lot of things right now.
Well, no, I don't. I haven't put that many hours into it. Like, I haven't put as much as like I know the people who have like 3 characters at max level. I only have like 1.5 characters basically. Like,
it's gotten stale so quickly.
Yeah.
And I love Destiny 1, and I'm not going to say I was on the hype train because he's going to actually say, yeah, told you so, Logue. But I was excited for it, but now I'm just like, okay.
That was a major issue, and it was an argument I kept on having with Logue as well. And he was asking me why I wasn't like more excited for it, or like why I was like basically putting it down before it came out. And I was saying that like I'm not. Like all I requested from Destiny 2 was a sign of growth, which is what like I look for in any sequel. Do you know what I mean? A sign that they've taken what they learned from the first game or second game or whatever, and they've worked on it and they've improved it. But like the fact that like it doesn't like the fact that it doesn't feel like Destiny 2 to me just basically means that like they haven't grown.
Imagine if we didn't have Rise of Iron and we didn't have The Taken King. This would be the best fucking sequel ever.
Yeah.
From what was left over.
Yeah.
I don't know, the best sequel ever is Street Fighter 2. I'd almost say it's a fact.
Okay, so that's Destiny 2 for today. We'll be sure to revisit it with our ongoing thoughts and opinions, as people explore the end game further. But we're going to move on now to Shikozi's topic. If you want to introduce that, Shikozi.
Yay! Okay, so my topic is the topic of spoilers, and I've been waiting, one could say gagging actually, to I know, right, to discuss the topic with Logue.
Oh no!
Because apparently his definition of spoiler is quite different to all of ours.
Is it?
Well, yes, Logue, because spoilers are relative. If I think something is a spoiler, it's a spoiler for me.
Okay.
So to define spoiler, a spoiler is something not necessarily that gives away the ending of a story, but more so spoils your experience of how you consume
expectations, isn't it?
Yeah. So basically, like it was like, cause like I also got annoyed at Logue when we were playing Destiny 2. Like we're in the party, and Logue was like I think like 4 or 5 hours ahead of me in the campaign or whatever.
Don't spoil the campaign here, by the way.
No, I'm not. But like he kept on going, "Ooh, my God, you guys see that?" Or like, "Oh my God, like oh you guys wait till you guys get here, you'll see this thing." And it's like you're kind of
but there was people ahead of me as well.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm of the opinion that like yes, there might be people ahead of you, but there's also people behind you. Do you know what I mean? So I like you saying, "Oh my God," when you like when you say stuff like that, it kind of like leads someone to expect something coming up. Do you know what I mean? Which is kind of spoiling their experience of it.
And what if Chikozi never gets there? What if Chikozi never has a moment? Oh, he's gone through expecting this big thing and he never gets it. Then you ruin that experience.
That's not me ruining the experience. That's him just not having it. That's not my problem. He doesn't know where I am.
It doesn't matter about knowing where you are. Like so if I'm playing like let's say something like Dark Souls, right? And you've gone through an area, a specific area. You've gone through the area, and like as you know, like I'm in the same party as you, and I just keep hearing you go, "Oh shit! Oh crap! Around that right corner! Oh my God! Okay, shit!" I'm like, "Okay, cool." Now I'm just expecting things to jump out at me from every right corner.
I think Dark Souls is a bad example though because they allow you to view the phantoms of people dying, so you do see someone going behind a corner and getting killed. Also, I'd like to say, when we said that we're going to have an agenda for today's podcast, I didn't mean a personal agenda, Shikozi. For you just to attack somebody.
So for our next topic,
that's the best kind of agenda though. But like no, it's not so much attacking him. It's kind of like
I see your point.
I want to understand where he's coming from. Like I want to understand why he thinks spoilers are not relative, or why he thinks that some things are okay to spoil and some things are not.
I see some things are spoiling and like saying, "Oh my God, we've all played The Taken King."
Yeah.
Okay, so
apart from Gaza.
Gary is not.
I think I've seen it on a stream.
Okay, so
I think I've seen because when they were doing, I think it was like a beta. They were doing like an open beta on the PC version. I watched some of the streams.
Taken King is Destiny 1. Not
well,
Destiny
it's been more than a month, so You're open.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's my beat. It's my beat. Yeah.
Okay. At the end of it, when Earthmorn, the cinematic Earthmorn comes over and his Orc's sword is in the big pool of black water,
and she's like, "I'm a one-dimensional character."
Yeah.
Wasn't that her only line?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
And she goes, "I will not fail you, my queen," or some bullshit like that, and takes that crystal. That crystal then becomes Razelighter, the sword used by Shax, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
To me, that would have been a spoiler.
Yeah, no, it is.
Shit.
Don't want to get anyone's argument.
It is.
Yeah, that's the definition of a spoiler. At the end, Erismore takes the crystal and makes Razelighter.
Do you know what else is a spoiler? When you go into the chat on a Monday, before the last episode of Game of Thrones, God, best episode ever.
No, it's not. That's a spoiler.
No, that's a spoiler.
That's a spoiler.
No, that's a spoiler.
Experience.
No, that's a spoiler because okay, look, like okay, I think like people consider things spoiler, right? When you taint their experience of it, like of a certain thing. Do you know what I mean? So like if you go into a chat and you say best Game of Thrones like episode ever,
but that's in my opinion.
Yeah, but the things though, like that's the thing. It's in your opinion. That's what I'm saying. Spoilers are relative. What might not be a spoiler for you?
But spoilers are not just giving away the ending of the plot of something. You can drink spoiled milk, and it's not like, oh, don't tell me how that carton finishes. It's just like the experience of drinking the milk.
It's all subjective. Like I always bring this up. I'll do it again. When the Muse Resistance came out, right? Here we
Brace
go.
yourself, Phil.
Ben knows. Yeah, right. Phil got it on the day, same as us, but I didn't listen to it yet. And I texted him, "How is it?" And he put, "Album of the fucking decade, and I'm only on track 3." Right? Bear in mind, in 2009, so between 1999 and 2009, we've had fucking the Nine Inch Nails Fragile. we've had Tool's Lateralis. We've had fucking some of the best albums of all time. And he's saying, album of the fucking decade, I'm only on track 3, right? It's not even Muse's best album fucking period, let alone album of the fucking decade. Yeah.
So just to clarify as well, Phil is one of our outside of Mountains of Madness, but he's one of Carl's best friends. They're born on the same day but 1 year apart, and
he spent an
they're
awful lot
always
of money on an Indiana
always
Jones
like
costume, and it was stellar.
Yeah, it was. It was like £300 he spent on my.
It's the actual jacket. It cost me £300.
And then he bought like a £10 pair of khaki chinos to go with it.
I'm very wary of his opinions because he said Inception, best film I've seen since Donnie Darko. Right?
Oh, wow.
Now I watched it as well. I like, Phil, you smoking crack. This isn't the best film since Donnie Darko. So now whenever he says something, I'm like, I take it with a pinch of salt.
It's like if you're going to see a movie, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to go see Passion of the Christ this weekend. And they're like, oh, wait for the big spoiler at the end. It's like, well, now, not spoiler, sorry, big twist at the end. You're like, well, now I'm spending the entire movie waiting for the twist that Jesus actually comes back to life. You know there's going to be a twist there.
Carl,
So
didn't
you're constantly expecting something.
Carl, didn't someone spoil your Red Dead Redemption 2 experience?
Yes, they did.
Spoiler alert. It's like, oh, just wait till you play as your son at the end and the main character gets killed.
Yeah.
That was basically it, yeah.
That was it. That was it. It's like, oh, it's not the end. It's at the end, but don't worry, that's not the end of it. I'm like, what? Hang on. You told me this character I've spent the last 30 hours playing as.
Oh no, I didn't I didn't spoil the story for you though. Yeah, but you spoiled the experience. Do you know what I mean? It's that exact thing. That's exactly it. Like,
Carl just has loads of friends that are like Logue. So everyone goes spoiling shit all day. Don't drink any milk, Carl, at your mate's house because it will just be spoiled.
Hey! But it's not even just that. It's like that it ruins the like your expectation going in. If someone says this is good, you're like, okay, this is good. Now I'm expecting it to be good, rather than going in not expecting anything. Or someone says,
how many times when someone asks me, like Cathal can attest to it, and probably Gary, when someone's like, "Did you enjoy it?" I'm like, I'm not going to say a word.
Yeah, we always do that in our chat. Like,
yeah, if someone insists on telling you, if they said to you, "Give me your honest opinion on this film," because I don't want to go to the cinema and waste 10 quid or whatever it is now. Is it worth seeing? If someone says that question to me, I will say, I think you should go and make your own judgment.
I think if someone says, is it worth the 10 quid to go to the cinema? I will answer that. I'll say yes. But a bad movie can be worth the money to see it as well.
Yeah.
If something is really terrible, it's also worth watching.
Yeah, I would usually like say, I would go. I wouldn't tell them whether it's good or bad. I would say I'd go.
Yeah.
It implies that it's good, but
Yeah.
I mean, some people do spoil shit because I don't like them.
Yeah. Like I have a few friends who kind of like ask me, oh yeah, is this thing good or whatever, and I usually just say, or like they ask me stuff that like could potentially spoil, and I'm like, do you really want me to tell you? Because me telling you could spoil it for you. Do you get me?
Yeah,
so I say stuff like that as well. Like,
so basically, Logue, pull your fucking socks up and stop spoiling shit for everybody.
Personally, I actually spoil things for myself. So most recent example would be season 7 of Game of Thrones. There was a lot of leaks of like the sets and the actors on set. I mean, I remember reading like, has everyone seen Game of Thrones? Can I spoil Game of Thrones season 7?
I have seen all of season 7, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all good.
Okay, so there was people that were like, "Oh, on set it looks like Jon and Daenerys meet each other because the two actors." There was like a drone took a picture of an aerial shot of like them talking to each other. So it's like, okay, well they meet, and then there was like all these script leaks and stuff. And I sat down and I read the entire season 7 summary. Why? A year before I came out, because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
for me, my experience is not spoiled if I read it as opposed to watch it. Because I get the enjoyment of the actual plot point. It's not like, oh, look, they're making love. It's so sensual and sexy and romantic, and the scene carries so much emotional weight and blah blah blah. It's like I want to know if they fucked or not, and then I'm like, cool, they fucked.
It's probably better you imagining it than what they actually did as well.
Yeah, it was awful. Do you know what? That's actually pretty interesting, right? So there's this guy I watch on YouTube, and he does great reviews for like animes and some other stuff, right? And
Don't plug him.
I know. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to blah blah. No. But anyway, like he does one that I found really interesting, which is another reason why I put this up here. It was about spoilers, right? And apparently there were studies already done on spoilers. Basically, some psychologists or whatever got like a sample size of like I think it was like 800 people or whatever, and gave them like I think like 10 like there was 10 different like classical literature that had like big twists at the end. Like so, it's kind of like thrillers and horrors and all this stuff, right? And for all of them, he gave them like a paragraph, right? And for half the sample size, that paragraph was like a paragraph that would spoil the main twist, right? So basically, half of them kind of knew what the twist would be, and half of them did not, right? And then it was interesting though because the people who actually knew the twist rated the books higher, right? So technically, it's like while spoilers do spoil things for people, it's like it doesn't actually ruin your experience, and it's interesting because it makes you think that like okay, so once something like the plot gets spoiled for you, like something like the main overarching story gets spoiled, does that not like give you more time to focus on the smaller things?
Maybe so, yeah. Maybe so. It's a good point.
I mean, personally, I like having the first experience of something as the first experience, and then maybe if I want to pick up on the smaller things, I'll go back and like read it or watch it again or play it again or whatever. I kind of enjoy there being actually something left over for the second or third or whatever time you're actually doing it.
Don't you think it's so much more difficult now though to go about your business on your phone or the internet? For example, we were myself and Carl were getting together the day after the McGregor fight with Floyd Mayweather, and I haven't told Carl this, but I'll tell him now because he's not here in person. So when you came round and we were trying to get either a stream or we hadn't paid for it. Openly admit we hadn't paid for it. The fuckers have earned hundreds of millions each. They don't need 20 quid. They just don't need it. So we weren't paying for it basically. So we're trying to find a stream or a download, whatever, anything we can get. Found one, but it was cutting out and skipping. So I thought we'll get another one. And while I was trying to find the stream on my phone, I had accidentally, because not on purpose, accidentally scrolled past the result. As I'd seen it, I'd kind of put my thumb in front of it, but it was too late. I'd already seen.
Yeah. You do that thing where your brain acknowledges it and goes, no, white noise.
Yeah, and I'd seen when it was going to happen, and I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything to Carl. We just sat and we still watched it as if it could have happened at any moment. But I knew exactly which round the person who was going to win had won in already.
Yeah.
That must have been.
It's so funny because something similar happened to me when I was watching Breaking Bad, and I was watching it like 2 years ago.
Spoiler alert
for Breaking Bad. So spoiler alert for Breaking Bad, and it wasn't like a main story. Has everyone seen it? Right? So am I allowed to spoil this or not?
You've never seen Breaking Bad?
No, I've seen it.
I've actually never watched it.
Yeah.
I watched the entire thing yet.
I've seen it.
But yeah.
Okay. So I'm allowed to spoil it then, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, hang on a minute.
Okay.
You sure? Because Breaking Bad is one of the best TV series
It is pretty
ever.
damn good. It is pretty damn good. But okay, so
definitely watch it.
Okay, I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it. But there's a certain point like one of my friends came over. It's like, oh my god, you were watching Breaking Bad? Have you gotten to the part when this person dies or whatever? And I was just like, yeah, no, hang on, what?
We are no longer friends.
Get out.
Literally, like I was just like, wait, what?
Was it Logue?
No, it wasn't Logue. Kill has about having fun and things.
I don't think bad, but I'm not even that bad.
Over literally, I stopped watching Breaking Bad for like a month or so because I was just like, I'm not going to continue until I forget about this thing. So literally, I'm pretty sure I just put up a mental wall, and I completely forgot that she had told me that person died until I got there, and I was like, oh yeah, shit, they died. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Like literally, completely forgot about it.
Yeah, it spoiled it for me watching the fight. It spoiled knowing. Because, for example, the Anthony Joshua boxing match, which I thought was cracking. Like when his legs had gone, but he was still going. If I'd have known that he was still going to win, then I don't think I would have cared as much or been as excited watching it.
Sports is definitely one of those things. I think sports is different to like a TV show or a movie.
Yeah, because it's the definitive result, isn't it? It's an either or.
Yeah. It's literally a 1 or a 0. You know, there's no. I mean, it's a 1 or a 0, and the emotions that come with it. It's not like the complex effect that a character death might have in a show with characters.
No other variables. It is or it isn't. That's it.
Yeah.
Same time, there are some Manchester United games that I would love to know the result of before I watch it because I'm just sitting there like I don't want to watch this anymore, but I have to watch it. It's just pain to go through it. Like yesterday against Southampton, where we're clinging on for like 60 fucking minutes. We're 1-0 up, and I'm going the whole time. It's like we're going to let one in. We're going to let one in, and then like literally, it's like I would turn the screen on my laptop away and just try to not think about it and like read a book or something, and then like I'd find myself reading 2 lines and then just like turning it back around and looking, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, no, I can't do. I need to have it there. It's the fucking work.
So Darren, I don't know whether you can still call me an Arsenal fan. I think I used to be an Arsenal fan when I was growing up.
I think most Arsenal fans now identify as ex-Arsenal fans.
Used to be Arsenal fan. Well, I after their 2003 season-ish, 2004 season, where they hadn't lost a single game, and it was probably their peak.
The legendary Arsenal Invincibles.
Yeah, and it was then just a slow decline of not meeting that bar anymore. I used to convince myself I can't watch the games because it's me that's making those. And then when I wouldn't watch, they would win. And I've made that connection in my head that I can't follow these guys anymore.
And you hear about people who are like, I have to wear my lucky scarf when my team plays because every time I'm not wearing the scarf, they lose.
Yeah, the tie in. So it was like you say, it's either a 1 or a 0.
And so it's an emotional connection with
So you come up with, when they've won, you've come up with, oh my God, I had my socks on. Oh, I didn't watch that game. That means I shouldn't watch any games.
Oh my God, I took a shit before 10 o'clock this morning. Yeah, that must have been it.
Who records that information?
Has everyone in this... Has everyone in this...
kickoff.
Has everyone in this podcast read at least one book in their entire life?
Yes.
Yeah. at least one book.
I'm glad you stopped at one.
Actually, on the bridge between spoilers and books, I remember when I first kind of like got started on the Game of Thrones books, right? And I'd gotten to like book 3 or 4, right? And
what series?
There's 4 books. Spoiler. God.
Yeah.
What series?
Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
And basically, Cathal had been on like he'd only read the first book or something, right? And,
I mean, Song of Ice and Fire, surely.
Yeah, that's the one. Jesus Christ, people. Anyway, so like I remember talking to him about that one, right? And I was like, oh yeah, the other books are good or whatever. Like, definitely check them out. And I remember talking to him.
There are other books.
I talked to him like the next day, right? And he was just like, oh man, I fucked up. I'm like, what did you do? he basically went on Wikipedia and he was like reading about the narrative and spoiled the entire thing for himself. And I'm like, oh my god, lad.
I also did that when I was reading the books. I would like go on a wiki of Ice and Fire to read something, and I'm like, oh well, now I know that person.
I think
you can't
that
control yourselves.
It's just you just get an itch to know more. You're like, oh, I want to know before the book tells me.
Exactly, Gary. But that brings me to the question I wanted to actually pose to you when bringing up books as a topic at all. Have you ever like skipped? Because I do this. If I ever have a physical book, do you ever skip to the last page and read the last page?
Yes.
No.
I do this. I have a serious problem. This is why my Kindle is so great, because my Kindle I can't. Well, the last page with writing on it.
I ain't clicking this button 6,000 times.
Yeah, when I'm on a Kindle, I can't do it. But if I was reading the Dogs recently, and I had a physical copy, and I just flicked back and ended up reading the last 10 lines, and I'm like, why do I do this?
You know what I'm going to do, Darren? Just for you, I'm going to email Amazon every day for the year, asking them to introduce a skip to last page on the
BCC
Kindle.
me.
The last book I did that with was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
I thought you were saying, where's Wally? I was like, fuck.
What's even on the last page of a Where's Wally book?
So has anyone else done that then? Logue,
I don't think I've ever done that.
I've never done that.
Even though I've not read many books, I have just skipped. Even books I haven't read in their entirety, I've just skipped to the last chapter.
I can just imagine Ben in like a book, stop flipping to the last page of the book.
Like Emily, my wife Emily read all the books a number of times. I got these really nice special edition hand illustrated ones in like this collection of all of them. They're really nice. Well, I skipped to the end of the last book to see how it all ended, having not read a single Harry Potter book.
Why did you do that?
Well, why not? I just thought, what happens then? And you know what? It confused the hell out of me.
Okay.
No, I hadn't seen the film. Although I had the last book, hadn't seen the last two films, so I had to see how it ended. I mean, it blew my mind because it didn't make any sense. I thought, why? Spoiler! Why are they all grown up? I don't get it. What?
That's like going to the cinema and like watching the end of the movie first and then like just leaving it.
It's like watching Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, or Memento.
Or Memento. Yeah.
I watched Memento recently, actually, for the first time in years.
Have you read the screenplay, Darren? Sorry, I just cut you up there. Finish your point, and I'll move on to mine. Sorry.
I watched Memento recently for the first time in years, and I had forgotten the entire plot. So it was like watching it again for the first time. such an appropriate like way to watch Memento that I'd forgotten that I'd watched Memento.
It's like the ultimate. Is that irony or is that coincidence? No, it's coincidence.
That's not irony.
Yeah, it's coincidence. Well, I'd seen a video actually speaking about Memento because I'm taking up writing at the moment, and I've written my first short film. I'm working on a few others. And,
is it the one that you sent me?
Yes, and it's moved up a notch. Like I've learned from mistakes I'd seen, just reading and people talking to me, and other successful or more successful writers. I guess just actual writers because I'm not a writer, but they've given me good advice and good tips. So the script now is it's up a step, but it's still loads to work on. But while doing this, I've been watching and reading and looking at loads of other videos of tips on screenwriting, and one of them was Christopher Nolan's adaptation of his brother's book to come up with the film Memento, and he's describing. He's asked by the interviewer in this interview, draw the timeline for Memento. Draw it from one end to the next and give us the acts 3. You know, the whole 3 acts of a film. The first act of the introduction, second act where they hit rough times and then it's impossible odds for them to overcome it, and then the third act is they overcome it. That's basically the 3 act process. And he draws this line on this board. Now, normally a timeline for a film is you have the start and you have the end, and then you have the 3 acts divided up in the middle, not necessarily in equal parts. Well, Memento is written in a way where it will start and go round like a long U-bend and come back on itself. So the start and the end of the film are played alternatively, basically. Now,
you've got like one like timeline going backwards.
Yes.
But like catching up with itself, and then you've got another timeline that's going forwards and meeting the one that's traveling backwards.
Exactly. So they meet at the same point, and the story that's being told kind of cross paths, which is brilliant. And I wanted to know how did he write that? And so I had a look at the screenplay because they're readily available. You can just go and have a look at it. But what he did was he did revisions and revisions and revisions, and then started to do different color versions of the pages. So certain scenes were, if you haven't seen Memento, or even if you have, just look up the screenplay and read the first scene. It's so brilliantly written because you think it's in one direction. You think it's going forward in direction, but then by the time you get to the end, you realize he's been telling you it backwards the whole time. Even in the screenplay, you get that moment of, oh, that's very clever. That's very, very clever. But he's done. He really as I've been going on, you see that he writes. He puts things in different color pages so people understand that this is this timeline, this is that timeline. More for shooting, I guess. But you can still understand that as an audience reading the screenplay, that there are these 5 different perspectives going on. I think there's 5. I think there's actually about 3, but he puts 2 other versions in. So you've got the black and white, you've got the color, you've got it forwards and backwards, and then you've got this other overarching narrative as well. Because there's a story about, is it Sam that goes on through the film?
Oh, yeah. That
he relates.
He has a tattoo saying, "Remember your man's name."
Yeah, I think it might have been Sam or something like that. It was a very simple name. I remember somebody. But there's that story that goes across through it as well. So he separates it for the physical shoot, for the production, into these 5 different types of pages and different colors. And it's just so that, because it must be so confusing to read until the very end, that moment when you realize, to make that. But I just thought, in terms of writing,
it was Sam Jankus.
That's it. Yeah. The man was a genius. And just on a side note as well, while researching other screenplays, Wall-E was another one. I don't know if you have all seen Wall-E, but for the first,
I've seen it twice while intoxicated, both times, and I can piece together roughly how that movie.
Well, for the first 30 minutes, you get no dialogue. There's nothing, but you find out. Yeah, well, I say no dialogue. You get voices from the adverts and the company narrate, but you don't get any dialogue between Wall-E and Evie, and you get this full relationship developed.
Yeah, and just off their sounds are so characteristic.
Exactly.
Sorry, you're talking about Wall-E, the animated film. Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. So for the first, I think it's maybe 30. There's no dialogue between his characters, but you fully understand them and what's at stake of their relationship. And I thought that was brilliant writing. How did they do that? So I had to look at the screenplay again, and I've never seen a screenplay like this. Even just reading it because I've seen the film, it's kind of a cheat. But if anyone here hasn't seen the film, read the screenplay first and then watch the film, because I want to understand your impression. Because the guy who wrote this is the guy who did Toy Story 3, Toy Story 1. It's probably one of Disney Pixar's best writers. And
it's in Cars as well. Then,
well, it's just he writes it in single lines, almost bullet points. So the first line is stars, and then the next line is more stars, and then it just goes bang, 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 just one line at a time, and builds the scene for you. And it's so simple to read, but I don't know whether it's just his vocabulary
or capability. In the way he writes it as well, just captures the loneliness of the whole film. Right?
And I guess that's maybe the message he's getting, because what he does when he's typing the reactions of the characters where dialogue would normally be, it's he writes in what the character is trying to say. So whoever's doing the sound for that animation,
or the animating or whatever,
yeah, they can see what they are trying to say, but it's the animator's job and the sound editor's job and recorder's job to portray that. So it's nice reading it through. You still get that really nice message, but when you see the film, there's none of that. There's no dialogue. You can't see that message. So there's this element of interpretation, which would go down to how you see that relationship between them. But how you would take that away. You might not take the same message that was written. I would say you probably would, because the guys are so good at their jobs, or so versed at the jobs, that they've got it down to a T, and everyone would fall on the same message. It's brilliant seeing.
I've seen that film like a good 5-6 times, and not once have I realised that the first half hour of that film there's no dialogue between the 2 main characters.
Which I think is a testament to the writing.
For the first half hour.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not until Eve comes in that there's
communicate with.
Well, also to the animators and stuff as well. I mean, considering how well they portray, just even with like facial emotions and stuff as well, that match up with the writing. It's really well done as well.
It is brilliant. Yeah.
I want to just push us on to the last little bit on spoilers before we kind of finish up for this session. I just would like to know, in terms of spoiling the plot of something, how long should you have to wait before it's okay to spoil something? Like, if Game of Thrones is out for like a week, is it okay to spoil it? If a movie it has been through its cinema run and it's now no longer in the cinemas, is it okay to spoil it? Like, how long should you wait? Or is it different? Is it different for books and TV shows and movies?
Yeah, it's different for all of them, but I think because what like, as I can't remember who touched on it there, it's like when you spoil something, you take away their experience, right? So basically, when you take away that experience, you're basically taking away their choice of how they experience it. And honestly, I don't think that should be your call to make. So basically, that's why like, like when people are like, okay, you gotta put like a spoiler tag or whatever. That's, you're basically giving them the options. Like, do you want me to spoil this for you or not? You know what I mean? But then again, I do understand where they're coming from. Like, where like, like you're in a party where there's like 6 or 7 people and everyone is ready apart from one person, and you're kind of like, dude, it's been like 3 months since the movie came out. Like we're gonna be talking about this. Like like you should have gotten onto it. Do you know what I mean?
On
so
that
it
point,
is.
Cozy, like, there's huge films that have been out years that are iconic. Like, there's one film that I'm guaranteed all of you have seen, but has one of the biggest plot twists of all time, or that I can actually think of.
Go on.
The Sixth Sense.
No, I ain't seen it.
The thing is,
you haven't seen The Sixth Sense, but do you know?
Yeah, I know that. I know the exact.
Ben, do you know what happens at the end of The Sixth Sense?
I've seen The Sixth Sense. I was just delivering a punchline to Logue saying,
before you carry on though, don't forget, we aren't the only people alive. People are born all the time. There's people born when The Sixth Sense came out that might not have seen it yet, that might want to watch it tonight or something, for example.
Yeah, but
there's a very good compilation on YouTube of children finding out that Darth Vader is Luke's father for the first time. Organic, like they had not, and there's just like the amazement on their faces.
But chipping on that part, I think the prequels ruined that a bit. If kids today are going to watch the prequels first before the original trilogy,
you watch 4 and 5, then 2 and 3, and then 6.
But that's ruined for them. One of the greatest plot twists ever is ruined for them if they watch 1, 2, 3 first.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any time limit on when it's.
Yeah,
I decide. I'm going to tell you anyway, but it still doesn't make it right. It's still
you do have to ask. You do have to ask. Like,
I don't think
think about it. You can't ask every single human being that's going to hear you spoil something if they're okay for you. Like, if you go on Reddit and you want to post a joke or an image that spoils a movie, like, when are you not a dickhead for doing that?
But for something like that. Yeah, for something like that though, there's usually tags. Do you get me? So if you're going on Reddit and you're going to put a joke like that, right? You can 100% put the joke without the spoiler tag, but you'll probably get taken down and you will be a massive penis for.
Well, that's Reddit for you though.
Yeah, it is Reddit. Like,
but we're talking about a bunch of friends.
But if you go on, right, and you basically put that tag on and you say the joke, it's completely okay. The same thing applies to friends. Like, you could go into a group of friends, right? And like, like The Walking Dead might have just come out yesterday. And you're like, guys, whatever, blah, 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 tiger, whatever. You'd be a massive penis. But if you come in and you're like, guys, has everyone seen The Walking Dead? And everyone's like, yeah, I have. No, I haven't. They're like, are you okay if we talk about it? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, cool. That's usually what happens. So like, I don't think the scale matters, because
I think Darren made a point though, because you can't. There is so many things out there: games, films, music, TV, even just news, that you can't withhold everything from everybody. Someone will still have. You will always have things spoiled for yourself because you haven't seen
I completely understand that. Like, you'll always spoil for you, but you can control you spoiling things for other people. Is what I'm saying.
Well, we spoiled the ending to Red Dead Redemption about 25 minutes ago. Red Dead Redemption is a game that was released 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, is like, this came out 7 years ago. If you were going to play this game, you probably would have played it by now.
Yeah.
Like, but then again, you
I feel justified in spoiling that.
You could say the same thing about Shadow of the Colossus, which I hadn't played.
Let's not talk about that.
No, I'm not talking about it. But I hadn't played it till
Why can't we talk about Shadow of the Colossus?
I haven't played it. I haven't played it, and they're doing a remastered remake. I'm so hot for that, man.
So like I hadn't played it like 6 months ago, but I only played it 6 months ago, and this is what, a PS2 game. So time. I think time is irrelevant. I just think that all that's required is just people asking. Like,
if you got mad at me and you were like, "You spoiled Shadow of the Colossus for me," I'd be like, "Fuck off."
I think it's what's relevant to the group.
Yeah.
So, for instance, we wouldn't spoil games between us. Probably some TV shows, music. We're probably not really fussed about spoiling because I don't think it was. No one can say the song is this.
Yeah, unless they just regale the fucking song to you.
Wait for the bridge at the 3-minute mark. It's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, some of you could actually do that.
It's amongst your circle of things. You understand
There's
what
usually
is relevant for a spoiler.
Exactly. So I agree to that.
I think it really depends on the media though, as well. Like, films have a much shorter spoil time than games, because it takes you so much longer to play through a good game.
Yeah.
And it's fair enough if it's 2 years on and you haven't got to that game yet because you've been playing something else.
Games are expensive. If you want to watch a film, if you want a film, you can go to cinema, a $5 or whatever it costs, rent the film, stream it, whatever. You can get the film easy to access. To get the game, you need the hardware to play the game. You need to buy the game.
I think
it only takes you 3 hours.
Also, you don't sit down to read a book, and at the end of every chapter, the book goes, "So, summarize what happened in that chapter before you can continue to the next chapter."
Some books I wish would do that, honestly. Like, man, I cannot remember what happened 3 pages ago.
I have a book downstairs. I have A Time to Kill. I don't know if you've all seen the film. It was I thought it was a great film. Probably Matthew McConaughey's best performance. Just saying. Before I got into rom-com.
I'm Matthew McConaughey. I've been talking like this before they paid me to.
All right.
So I've seen it. So yeah, I bought the book off the back of watching that film, and I got past. Has everyone seen the film? Everyone knows the story.
I've read the book. John Grisham.
Yeah. So I've got the book, and I got past. I love the book so far, but I'm probably 1/3 in, and I stopped reading that book about 4 years ago. And I only noticed this downstairs the other day when I was in the room downstairs, and on our bookshelf there's a bookmark in the top still sticking out, so I know where I am. But if I pick that up now, I probably should start from the beginning again. Because I won't remember that.
It might be a good call, yeah.
But there's 4 years between that book. I've probably forgotten. Will I remember all of it as I'm going through? Maybe some of it. I don't think I remember all of it. But maybe I've just spoiled it for myself by not finishing it off when I started reading it. But
you should always finish it off once you've started it.
Do you know what? I think it's interesting. Right? So Cathal said that that films have a much shorter spoil life than like TV shows, whatever. I think books have the greatest spoil life, because usually when people recommend a book or when they talk about a book, they're like, "Hey guys, have you read this book? No? Oh well, you should read it." Do you know what I mean? That's usually what happens. They don't just say, "Oh yeah, okay, so this thing happens." They usually read it, and then they wait for you to read it. Yeah.
That's actually happened to me in the last couple of weeks, because the film that's coming out in the next while, Ready Player One.
Yes. Yeah.
I saw
telling everyone to read that.
I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, "That actually looks like a really cool film." Found out it was actually a book by Killian, and he's like, "Yes, just go read the book."
Yeah.
Just go.
How did you read that recently?
Killian wrote the book.
Man, there's so much I didn't know.
I don't remember Killian. No, that was me though, because I was talking to you about that.
You wrote
the book?
Yeah. Did you guys know?
It was the night before. It was actually the night before that.
I'm Ernest C. Klein. Did you guys not know?
How are you writing books? I thought you couldn't read.
He can't read, but he can write. It's a series of pictograms and hieroglyphics.
Some kind of organic process.
Darren, have you seen the trailer for Shadow of the Colossus yet? Remake.
Yes, I have.
You seen the new one from the night?
No, I have not. I don't. It's one of these things where I'm just going to buy it when it comes out, probably straight away. I don't need to see the trailers.
I'm getting that. I only played Ico for the first time earlier this year.
I haven't played that yet.
What is Ico?
I have not played The Last Guardian, but I've played Ico and Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, okay.
I've got The Last Guardian. I bought The Last Guardian first, then played Ico, and now I'm going to wait for Shadow of the Colossus before I do The Last Guardian.
Before anyone listens to this chips in, we know it's called eco. We've always called it ICO.
Same as the fact we call GIFs, not GIFs, even though they are GIFs.
If the guy who made it calls it GIFs, then it's GIFs.
They're GIFs.
Yeah. That's fair.
I don't know, man. I think it's.
And don't be like, but like people are like, oh yeah, but like you don't say give as jiv. I'm like, yeah, but you've still got germs. You know, like I hate that argument.
No,
just
I'm
pick
not gonna,
green and say it's not green. I'm like, that's a terrible argument. Like, there's equal number of words that begin with G that sound like that. It's
not like the argument
the Geoff and Jeff argument all over again you had with me last year. So
if he wants you to call him fucking Big Dick McGee, then you call him Big Dick McGee. You know, like that's
the world we live in.
That's the world we live in. If I want to be both a black man, a white man, a woman, and a man at the same time, a black man and a white woman at the same time, we'll go with that, then I'm allowed to be.
Hey,
no.
Darren, you just reminded me of Atlanta.
Oh my god, the episode of Atlanta where it's like the young black kid and he's like, I'm a middle-aged white guy. And he's like...
Actually, what's our next topic?
That is the greatest. That's the funniest.
No, it's not.
It's a joke. It's a joke where they're on this
it's a sketch,
politically correct talk show, and they're like talking to this rapper, and they're like, "Oh, you degrade women in your music, blah blah blah," and he's trying to defend himself, and then they have the segment where they cut away, and it's like, you know, the way you got people who like feel like they're sexually one gender but emotionally another gender, and they're born a woman but inside they're a man. It's like this young black kid who on the inside feels like he's a middle-aged white guy. He's just doing middle-aged white guy things as like a young black kid, and then they have him on the show and they start talking about like gay people, and he's like, oh, I think that's entirely wrong.
Abomination.
It's an abomination. And they're like, oh shit, but like because he's a middle-aged white guy, like he's obviously going to think it's wrong, and they're like but it's fantastic. It's probably one of the that show's the best comedy show in the last 5 years.
He got nominated
so good.
for...
What's it called?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's written by Donald Glover, who's Childish Gambino.
He was the first black director to win that award.
Yeah, it was. It's beautiful, and every episode is like gold dust.
Oh Jesus! I think it's stronger. It's stronger than the last 4 seasons of It's Always Sunny, easily.
Yeah, it's easy.
Really.
Yeah, really, really good. Really,
and that's this is us technically spoiling it for you, Ben, because we're setting a bar now.
So
you're going to go in. You're going to go in and
now I'm introduced to it. Otherwise, I would never have watched it.
You just say it was the best comedy in how many years?
4 to 5 years.
What's it on?
Carl's like googling like comedy TV shows in the last 5 years.
I feel like
watch this.
I feel like this is like gonna be like Carl's new instead of talking about like the Muse's album, you start talking about this.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
So where can I watch Atlanta?
Since we're putting this online, I cannot recommend any sort of illegal streaming services for you, so I'm just going to say we'll take that offline.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the premiere episode of the Mountains of Madness podcast. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Do the thing where you click on the like button and then subscribe to us so that you'll, be notified when we upload new episodes, and
it'll also make you a better person.
It'll make you a better person. Don't spoil things, including your milk, and stay salty.